Warning: the following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the honey badger, and honey badger don't give a shit. In just a second, I'm going to show you how this honey badger is going to help you nail that girl who says she just wants to be friends and have her think it was her idea to have sex with you. Watch this video until the end to discover how you can finally hook up with the one girl who you've always wanted but have never been able to get until now. Just a fair bit of warning. I do not know how long this video will be online. This video is not what you expect, and women everywhere won't want you to know this controversial technique. So watch this now while it's still online, and before they force me to take it down. Now, you may think you've seen and heard it all when it comes to women, yet I can guarantee that you have never seen this unusual technique before. This is entirely different, and no one knows about it yet. So, make sure you watch this video now so that you can get an unfair advantage over other guys who don't know it, and prepare to be shocked by what I reveal to you today. And remember, if you have a female friend in your life who only sees you as her good friend, or worse, she treats you like a brother, with what I'm sharing, you will finally be able to get her into bed and have her think it was her idea. See, I know how you feel when she walks in the room. I know that this is the one hot chick who's been driving you nuts, the one who causes your brain to overload and your stomach to flip whenever you hear her voice, smell her perfume, or even sense her nearby. I know that being her friend is a living hell because you have to watch her go out with other guys who you despise, and those guys secretly look down on you for not being able to get her too. At first, they might see you as a threat, but when she reassures them that you're just like a brother, they go home and laugh their asses off. Wouldn't it be nice to let those clueless bastards see you and her together? You bet. So, keep watching because I'm going to show you exactly how. Wouldn't you like to finally see what she looks like naked? Wouldn't you be happier if you could just find a way to make her yours? Wouldn't you like to know you could have her as your loyal girlfriend if you wanted to? I'm willing to bet you do, and that's why you're going to love what I'm about to show you. First, I need to tell you a story. It's a story that I'm pretty embarrassed to share, yet it's one you absolutely need to hear because it will reveal more to you about hooking up with a girl who says she just wants to be friends than anything else I know. Deal? Now, I didn't always understand what triggers attraction in women. I wasn't always secretly sought out by men all over the world to help them attract the women of their dreams. And I certainly wasn't dating the woman of my dreams like I am today. In fact, far from it. Actually, I was a clueless chump when it came to women. I remember the moment when I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I'm going to share this story with you now, even though it's really embarrassing, but it's vital to your success. You need to understand how desperate and clueless I was before I discovered the technique I'm going to share with you today. This technique allows me to attract her and have her think it was her idea. I remember it was a Sunday evening in late January, and I was on the phone with the girl I was completely obsessed with. And the reason I remember this is going to be crystal clear in just a moment. Normally, I would have been watching The Simpsons, but for this girl, I was willing to drop everything. After months of me fantasizing about her, wishing I could have her, and bending over backwards for her, I finally couldn't take it anymore. And I told her how I felt. Now, I was stuck sitting on my bed, holding my phone and waiting in a silent panic for her response. That moment felt like I was waiting forever. And during that moment of sheer torture, a thought flashed through my mind. Why do I have to suffer like this when other men had her at the drop of a hat? I started to remember all the sacrifices I'd made and the things I'd done for her, how he had picked up extra hours at work just to buy her that cell phone she always wanted for her birthday. Once, she wanted me to pick her up from her boyfriend's apartment because they were fighting. I dragged myself out of bed even though it was 3 in the morning. There was even a time I thought we were actually going to hook up. She asked me to buy her some condoms and come over because she said she was too embarrassed to get them at the store. I almost got into a car accident driving to her place in eager anticipation to finally get what I had been waiting for. And when I got to her place, my heart immediately sank. Standing at the door was some guy. She happily ran over to my car, gave me a kiss on the cheek through the window, and after thanking me for saving the day, grabbed the condoms and ran back to him saying, "Eric, you're the best. Let's go to a movie later. I'll call you." But despite all this, as far as I was concerned, we were meant to be together. She loved my sense of humor. We had great conversations, and we were always together. Well, almost always. The only time she wasn't with me was when she was with some jerk who was no good for her. But at this moment, on this Sunday night, she was single, and the timing was perfect. Valentine's Day was coming up, and I wanted to take her on a real date. This was finally my chance to make my move. And in that floating, dreamlike silence, after I popped the question, my stomach turned. I literally felt sick. I had extended myself so much already to just try and spark some kind of attraction with her, but no matter what, I never seemed to attract her as a man. In fact, at my lowest moment, I literally didn't feel like a man anymore. I'm serious. There was a point where I wanted her attention so desperately, I literally disgraced myself as a man. She said she thought goth guys were hot. So one day, I actually let her put makeup on my face. My hope was that she'd see me dressed up all goth-like and it would trigger some attraction in her. But I ended up walking around looking like a girly man. Some guys laughed at me and thought I was trying to dress as a prostitute. And if that wasn't humiliating enough, my night ended at 12:30 a.m. with only a hug and a kiss on the cheek while she hurried off to visit a new guy friend. As I walked home alone with the makeup still on, I thought to myself, this is how she sees me. I'm no better than a girlfriend to her. I had become a penisless Ken doll that she played with, and I was a helpless slave to her, ready to do anything she wanted just to win her heart. I started to think to myself, why did she go off and have sex with a jerk who doesn't even care about her when she could be with a nice guy like me? Why is it that she likes to hang out with me but never wants to sleep with me? I remember a time where she would invite over a guy she barely knew and she'd make out with him right in front of me. I was so helplessly in love with this girl that it tore my heart in half to see this happen again and again, but I just couldn't rip myself away. I had to have her. I snapped myself out of my spiraling thoughts when she finally spoke. I was going to have my answer. Eric, you know I love you. You know I would do anything for you, but I just don't have those feelings for you. I felt like I was going to throw up. You're a really great guy, and you're going to make some girl really happy, but I'm just not attracted to you in that way. I was dizzy. I felt like my world was collapsing around me. Was there something wrong with me? How many times had she complained about how lonely she was? I was always sitting right there in front of her, wishing I could have her. It was like a plate of delicious food sitting in front of a person who's starving and complaining that nobody wants to eat it. It was ridiculous and unfair. It was a huge tease, and I'd never been so frustrated. You're like a brother to me, and I love you, but just as a friend. I couldn't even hear her anymore. Her words were just echoes in my head at that point. This was my nightmare come to life. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, she dropped the ultimate bomb. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about Valentine's Day because I really wanted to go out with your friend Pete. Wait, stop for a second. Pete? My friend Pete? Pete was one of my buddies. Not my best friend or anything, but a good buddy. And she had only met Pete a week ago. Moreover, Pete wasn't exactly the most attractive guy. He didn't seem to have anything I didn't. At that moment, I felt completely alone. Was everyone getting laid but me? This was when my heartbreak turned into uncontrollable anger and bitterness. I thought, how could she choose a friend of mine over me? How could she do this to me after everything I'd done for her? I was desperate for her to feel that kind of attraction to me too. But I simply didn't know how to make that happen. So I guarantee when I tell you I hit rock bottom, my rock bottom was really as bad as it gets. But you know what? Looking back on it now, I'm grateful for what happened with her. That one day caused my entire life with women to change. Because that day, I decided that as long as I was alive, I was going to figure out how to make women attracted to me. I was going to be like the honey badger and get what I wanted. There was no way I would ever let myself be so helpless, desperate, and out of control ever again. I vowed to read every book on female psychology, watch every course, and figure out what really attracts women or die trying. Seriously, this became my life's obsession. I just couldn't feel right until I knew I had the answer. I read everything I could get my hands on. I devoted all my free time to find out what really works and started modeling any successful guys I could find. I spent countless hours testing theories to try and crack the code, but I still wasn't getting the results I wanted. A lot of techniques were weird too, and I embarrassed myself on many occasions. One night, after getting fed up, I decided to piece together everything I had learned and try a completely new strategy. The results shocked me when I woke up in bed next to a girl who repeatedly swore we could only be friends. I knew I was onto something. Had I discovered a totally new approach to attracting women by accident? The best part was when I started using it, she thought it was her idea.